Manipulism and the Weapon of Guilt, Collectivism Exposed. Written by Mikkel Clair Nissen. Narrated by David Bucci. Afterword. Regardless where one is situated in the world, contentment is an absolute universal need. This need finds its highest satisfaction when contentment is found within. Contentment need not be influenced by one's surroundings or anything fictive. Pure contentment comes from no outside source whatsoever, but simply is found within. Therefore, as the author of this book, I cannot avoid a grin on my face when stating that one is only truly content when one feels no need to convince others. Focus on the problems of the world creates people who feel discontent and who then choose fictive contentment over their freedoms. This system enables exploitation and creates one of the world's biggest problems. Contentment can be, and is, misused to manipulate and thereby control others. The discontentment that occurred on Black Thursday, October 1929, when the Wall Street stock market crashed, resulted in the Great Depression. The psychopathic collectivist dictator Adolf Hitler perfectly utilized the economic catastrophe in Germany to rise to power, causing World War II. Eventually, 6 million Jews were killed in the name of National Socialism, and the total casualties of World War II are estimated to have reached 60 million. Conversely, to avoid similar events from happening again, the search for security opened new doors and led to the creation of the European Union, relying on socialism and big governments once again, the exact same source of authoritarian collectivist control that caused the devastation in the first place. And so the source that promised to guarantee our liberty moved from one occupational force, the National Socialists, to Marxism's latest passive-aggressive approach, which is the occupational force controlled emotionally by narcissists, the nationalistic democratic-socialists. A movement that has been furthered by the general worldwide misperception that Hitler's National Socialism was the act of the right wing. The exact same resentment and anger also drove the socialist activist, the perceived collectivist hero, Che Guevara, on his killing spree across the South American continent, in Cuba, and in Africa. Guevara's estimated personal body count totaled 4,000. The ruthless psychopathic dictators Joseph Stalin, allegedly responsible for as many as 40 million deaths, and Mao Zedong, allegedly responsible for well over 70 million deaths, are both examples of Marxist dictators. Both men, through socialists, communists, who rose to power by advancing social equality, lived like kings in luxury palaces, while their subservient citizens lived, and still live, impoverished lives. Since 9/11, insecurity has effectively empowered governments worldwide while revoking their citizens' freedoms by the minute. Delivered to the populace as necessary security, the domestic tyranny daily grows more and more obvious. All this has been achieved through camouflage by the perfect diversion, discontentment through the fear of terrorism, climate change, and the current Great Recession. Thus, our biggest threat is our supposed protectors, the governments themselves. Most questionable will be the outcome of severe inflation potentially occurring in the United States in the near future. Should this happen, when the government is unable to print money out of thin air to make up for the United States debt, assuredly, the outcome will be an even greater depression, leading to dependency in the American populace. America, a great nation built on independence, will then be a dependent nation. Likely, once again, this will cause its populace to turn to government for support, the same source that caused the problem in the first place. Similar to what took place in post-World War II Europe, that being dependency leading to a strong support of totalitarian collectivism. A question that always comes to mind is why the money should be funneled through the state. If the government wants to compel its citizens to take care of others, then why doesn't it impose laws on its people to donate a percentage of their earnings to charities and those in need? Thus, the question is answered quite thoroughly in this exposé. The power of authority invested in one single organism with access to blackmail and bribery, combined with every possible means of coercion available to enforce this extortion, military, police, and justice, dooms the people for tyranny, death, and destruction. The exact reason being that totalitarian collectivist ideals are built on bad boundaries, the inability or unwillingness to recognize boundaries between self and society, because collectivists feel, 1. A strong sense of entitlement, hence they fail to identify with the feelings of others, rights to personal choice, privacy, preferences, and priorities, caused by 2. Lack of empathy, which comes as a consequence of extreme inferiority complex, and the resultant 3. Grandiose sense of self-importance, perfectly assessed by collectivist ideals, the notion of social equality, allowing sensations of moral superiority a true source of attention, affirmation, adulation, narcissistic supply, their 4. Required excessive admiration attained through 5. Preoccupation with success, fantasies of the perfect utopian society without any poverty, where all people have equal opportunities and are treated entirely equal, again leading them to believe that the populace should be rewarded without mandatory achievement, which is perfect justification for being 6. Envious of people of a better standing whom they believe should share their private assets, and consequently because they 7. Consider themselves special and by means of excessive self-righteousness, using projections to dump shame on others, as well as 8. Arrogance, magical thinking, to debase anyone opposing truth, and allowing the collectivists to create the perfect pathological illusion, and thereby to 9. Exploit society for personal gain. Throughout history, tampering with nature's ways has proven unforeseeable and often with devastating consequences. In this case, the naturally occurring societal class differences that enables incentive to create necessary self-esteem, for example, psychological resilience, are destroyed. Therefore, social equality causes severe inferiority complex and hence psychopathic mental illness. To this day, no philosophy or religion comes even near the genocide, tyranny, and damage that the theories of Marxism, big governments, have caused to mankind, with death tolls estimated to be near 100 million. The genocide on individualism continues. Solution thoughts. No war has ever been fought without being subject to narcissism, either caused by grandiose sensations, feelings of being more right than others, and hunger for power or exploitation for personal gain. If there is a purpose to life, it is undoubtedly to fight this evil, which can be accomplished in one way only, simply by bettering ourselves, to fight narcissism from within. Narcissism, inferiority complex, causes adolescent bullying in the school system. Striking down on the problem would be a powerful tool. The magnitude and importance of addressing the source that facilitates collectivism in its early stages would truly advance society, through cognitive study of self and through subjective teachings of psychology, psychopathy and narcissism, and other personality disorders as a mandatory part of the curriculum. Breakthroughs in progress can come through tools available through psychology and use of therapy. In this manner, it is possible to accomplish the significance of embracing the confident mentality, to encourage benign envy, self-assurance, and self-encouragement, to oppose unhealthy narcissism, to combat those who denigrate others for expressing their self-assuredness, as well as to heal, strengthen, and uphold higher subconscious awareness. In politics, the narcissist and psychopath has the absolute advantage, however, only until exposed. Recruiting psychological advisors specialized in psychopathic mental disorders would, therefore, put that advantage back in the right hands. In today's Western nations, opportunities are plentiful and subordinated only by bureaucratic involvement. Our current situations are quite unlike the way society looked in the 18th century, when Marxism began to emerge. Unlike third world societies, where life is truly difficult, a person in today's Western world who has no disabilities has no legitimate excuse for not being able to make it, given the numerous options available. Why should helping anyone in the Western world in any way be different than the way we aid people in third world countries? Help to self-help. And just like in third world countries, why do we not safeguard that investment by means of following the investment and assuring progression and succession, the goal of self-sustainability? Everyone is, and should be, one's own master of happiness. Equality is never achieved by evading personal responsibility, but earned only through pain, sacrifice, and hardship by claiming personal responsibility. With these words, you may ask, do I believe I am more right than any collectivist? The answer I would give is, no, not necessarily. Freedom gives anyone the right to their ideals, but as well, freedom takes away one's right to force one's ideals upon others. Freedom does have consequences, as well as casualties that should be addressed. Thus, the consequences and casualties of freedom are by far less than the outcome of losing freedom itself. A quote by Albert Einstein: "Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results."